Hi, I'm Wade Creswell, Roane County Executive, and we're coming to you today from KL Studios in Kingston, Tennessee. We're very thankful for the Kennedy Ladd Foundation for making this space available for us to use. If you want to use this space for any of your podcast needs, I encourage you to reach out to KL Studios. They've been great for us to work with. And so we're coming to you today to talk about a very important topic. 2025 is a year in Roane County for the property reappraisal throughout the county. And it is my honor to be joined today by the Roane County Assessor of Property, Molly Hartup. Molly, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this time.
So as I mentioned, this is the reappraisal year, and there's a lot of, I want to say confusion, but the process for reappraisal isn't necessarily intuitive or easy to understand. So Molly and I have been talking for quite some time about trying to get together and explain from a very basic perspective about what it means, why we have a reappraisal that the state of Tennessee, throughout the state of Tennessee, what it means to do the reappraisal, and what it means to you, the taxpayer, as we go forward. So with that being said, Molly, so talk to us just from your perspective about, we'll start from the very, very most basic part of this, which is why in Tennessee do we have a reappraisal?
So it's an equalization process, and the state of Tennessee requires us this per TCA code, and it's to kind of give a break every so many years. You know, there's a 4-year, 5-year, 6-year reappraisal process, but it helps the citizens to stay at the same level of appraisal for so many years. Now, that tax rate can be changed by county commission from year to year.
We'll talk more about that.
And we'll talk more about that. But it helps us to stay with market value. And we are very far from market value this year in 2025 versus what our reappraisal told us in 2020. So I'm very thankful that you wanted to take this time and us go over this so that we could educate you all on what a reappraisal process is and what it looks like and what it will mean to Roane County, what it will mean to you as a taxpayer.
That's right. So basically, a couple points I heard in that is, number one, the state of Tennessee says we have to do a reappraisal process. That's the number one reason why we do it. But for practical purposes, it is because property values change over time. And we're currently in Roane County on a 5-year cycle, correct?
Yes.
And then when the last time your office did a reappraisal in 2020, values have changed in Roane County significantly. So right now, as you and your team are going through that process, the values from then to now are different, and we have to make sure that they are equalized across the board, right?
Correct.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's the reasons why there is a reappraisal in Tennessee. So talk to me about, during those 5 years, what does your team do up until, we're getting ready to complete it by the end of next month, roughly, right?
Correct.
So during that time frame, what does the process look like for your team?
So July of 2020, we started this reappraisal for heading towards 2025.
Immediately after the last one.
Immediately, as soon as we close with the end of June, come July 1, we start our review cycle then.
Okay.
And we continuously work deeds every day, all day long. But with that review cycle, we put boots on ground every single parcel in this county, from boundary to boundary.
Which is about how many?
Close to a little over 37,000 parcels. So my staff reviews those in a 4-year time period. Okay. Then in the year of reappraisal, we touch them again. So we look at them again at the computer. If we have any questions, if we see anything different from the air versus what we saw boots on ground, since we now have aerial photography that we had flown over in December of 23, January of 24. So we have that imagery to compare. And so if we see some things that aren't matching up, we'll go back out there.
Right.
So we do field checks.
Just to make sure it's as accurate.
Make sure as accurate as possible. Some properties are not as easy to get to as others. Right. We have 4-wheel drives, and we do our very best to try to get up the terrain at these properties and areas.
But you're responsible for making sure that every single parcel is as accurate
as possible. Right. Absolutely. So that means
it's the only way to be fair to all taxpayers. Right.
Yes. So it's, cities and rural areas that we have to go to. once per every 5 years. And then we review them again in the year of reappraisal. And that's when we have to price the land, the houses, every building, every pool, every anything that is appraised in Roane County, we have to look at and make sure that we have it accurately priced to current market value.
Let's double click on that a little bit. So when you say price to market, talk to me a little bit about, you all have a set of tools and you can't really go outside what the state tells you can do as far as the formulas and those tools to assign a value to a property, right? You're kind of restricted in how you do that.
Well, our hands are tied. So this impact system, this CAMA system that we're on, so it gives a base house of 2,500 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. That is our model home.
Okay.
So what house in 2024 is our model home? And that's when we have to look at our sales, the areas. We try not to have them in a subdivision. We just want a true values to where no amenities affected the sale of that property.
Right. Just a base
property, 2,500 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. No, it's 1,500 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I'm sorry about that. Then that gives us a foundation to build on of how to price the rest of the homes that are over 1,500 square feet. Okay. So with that being said, then the sales that we see, we have to break them down. We have to break them down, what the land sold for. Then we have to break down on that square foot price. Yeah. Yes. So we do apples to apples,
right?
Not apples and oranges. So, and plus areas affect prices as well. So we have to narrow all that down to get the most accurate price possible to that area, to that street, to that house. We try to build.
The state says you have to use to get to that price.
With the store.
The point I wanted to make there for people is the tools that Molly has to use, that all assessors really have to use. It isn't just like going on Zillow and looking at your home value, but in no way, and really doesn't even come close to that.
No.
So I want people to. I was hoping people understood that you can't just go look at comps on a website and say, okay, we're going to assign that. You're very specific on how you go about assigning value.
Absolutely, and that's with that home. Okay, right. So we have to get a square foot price for a 2024 home of that model. And so based off of that, then that tells us of how things appreciate, depreciate. So the formula goes into the year built, the appreciation, depreciation, things like that.
All the variables.
All the variables. And so all those are set up in our CAMA system.
Okay.
So that is controlled within the body or within that system of how that house gets priced.
So now that your team's gone through all 37,000 parcels, now it comes time to where we are now, really, as we're getting closer to the end of assigning. So talk to us about where we are now versus we keep going through the process. So what's your team doing right now?
So right now we are finishing up. We've priced the entire county. So now we're going area by area. We have to come to what we call 1 or 100% of where the market has gone. Okay, so
it's all met to what? Would that be like your average value?
Your average value
increased.
Yes, because you have a mean, a median, all that. So it has to become 1.
Okay.
And so many factors. I mean, they've got it all the way down to neighborhood factors, to city factors, to subdivision factors. I mean, it's just unreal of where we have to get so specific in that CAMA system to come to 1.
So that's where we are now, right?
That's where we are right now.
So what's next?
So the next step is we have our final meeting with the Tennessee Comptroller State Department of Property Assessments, have our final reappraisal meeting.
Okay.
And once that is signed off on, then we will send out notices in April, and that will show a new value for your home. Okay, or your commercial building or your land, if it's just vacant land. These are going to be new values. Now, this new value is not going to tell you how much taxes you're going to pay. So what the percentage of the average percentage that Roane County goes up in market value from 2019 to 2024, the certified tax rate in this year will be calculated to come down to that specific rate, okay, of that average. So the average increase the tax rate will come down because it's a revenue neutral year. And a revenue neutral year means we cannot bring any more revenue in
Right.
by taxes than the year prior.
Right. Right. That is probably the most important thing. One of the top 3 most important things for the taxpayer to understand is the reappraisal process is no way is meant to make the county more money. It is to reset what the average property value is across the board so that taxation is happening fairly. Correct?
Absolutely.
The only way that the tax rate can go up where you end up paying more because the tax rate is county commission has to set it at a higher rate.
Correct.
Now, we do anticipate the tax rate falling significantly because average home values are going to go up significantly, but we don't quite know what that number is going to be.
Not yet. We don't have that number just yet. But I just want you all to know, if you see a drastic change in your value in your home went up here, the tax rate is going to come down to meet that average. So if your house went up so much percent, this average percent here, if you're above that average percent, you're going to pay a little bit more taxes. If you're below that average percent, you're going to pay less taxes. But if you meet right in the middle, then you're not going to see a change.
Right. And we anticipate that you will see a drastic change in your value. We know that across the average change,
Everyone will have
a drastic change. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be paying more or less taxes. And the county makes the same amount of money next year as it does this year as far as the appraised value goes.
Yes, 2025 cannot take in any more tax dollars than it did in 2024,
Right.
except for new construction.
There you go. So that's important to know too, because we do anticipate quite a bit more funding coming in through growth that we've seen. We've all seen the growth, and growth is a whole different aspect of the way we do our budgeting, our way we look at our budgeting, the way we look at county government in general, but it's not tied to the reappraisal process.
Right.
So, but I want us to repeat that just so people understand. There is an average rate that the average is it rate or price? Average increase.
Increase.
That it will the overall reappraisal value will go up in Roane County this year. If your property increased by more than what that was, you will pay a little more. You'll pay more taxes. Mm-hmm. If your property increased by less than what that amount is, you'll pay less taxes. If it's the same, you'll pay the same. So everybody's probably will be slightly different than what it is now. It's really difficult to tell if you're going to be in the category that's going to pay less or more. But
so on the new construction, so that's a very important thing in the year of reappraisal about new construction, because those houses, we will now be able to use new rates for those new houses. We've not been able to put them on at what they're selling for, brand new houses. I'm having to way undervalue them in the last few years, but this will now,
because we've been going off 2020 values.
2019, 2020 values. Right. So now those values will get put in to what a true 2024, 2025 house can be built for. Now, are these going to be perfect, and are these going to be your for sale prices? No. So we have so many formulas, so many things that we have to look at, but it is going to be as current as possible. Now, I've talked to other assessors, surrounding assessors, around, and when they went through reappraisal. So residential was the biggest percent that went up, right, because we have so many people flooding in from other states, coming to our beautiful state of Tennessee and coming to our beautiful county, Roane County.
That's right.
And we understand that. We understand how beautiful our county is. Unfortunately, that market is set by the people that have moved in, or people that just sell.
It's just supply and demand.
There's
a greater demand than there is supply right now.
You cannot believe how many phone calls we've had in my office of people calling in, to see what this is valued at. And they live in California, or they live in New York. What do you have this appraised for? And I'll tell them, and they're like, well, they're wanting this. And so they buy it sight unseen. And I've recommended to them, you really need to come here and see the area.
Yeah.
And see where this is located before you pay that price.
Yeah.
But a lot of them they don't care. They just want out wherever they're at. They just want to get out, and they want to come to Tennessee. And I do understand that. But those sales, any sales that happened in 2024 is what set the market for Roane County.
So So we've gone through the process, and we talked about when people start receiving their notices on July 1st or April 1st, right?
Well, it'll be in April.
And we start sending them in April.
In
right?
April.
Start going out April 1st. If somebody receives a notice and they think this can't be right, what do they do?
So on that notice, you're going to have a phone number, and that will then call into our office, and then you are going to get one of my staff, and they'll be happy to walk you through it and tell you, this is accurate. They'll go over the card with you. You've got so many square feet, or you have a garage, or you have a pool, or how many acres you have. They'll go over all that information with you to make sure our card is accurate. And once they've gone over all that with you, then that is the current market value. If there's no errors, anything like that. So it's really good for you to call us to ask those questions, because it is on the taxpayer. If you see something wrong or you think something's wrong, please call my office. We'll be happy to help you, because, human nature, make errors, and we want to correct those errors. So we only have so much time that we can correct those errors. And so anytime you want to call in April, we're going to have 2 weeks of informal hearings. And then in the month of May, we'll be going over each one of those calls, looking at corrections. If there's an error, we got to correct this area, or correct this area, or correct this house, if we see those errors. And so then we run another batch of assessment change notices. Those get mailed out to the ones that we've changed from the first batch that we sent out. So those will come to you. And then if you are still not sure and you're not happy with that value, and you don't feel that it's market value, and you have everything in line that you feel you are correct and we're not, you have the opportunity to appeal to the County Board of Equalization starting June 1st. So that the whole month of June, we start out first come, first serve, that first week, first day. And so we fill up each day, each week. We've got 5 board members from each area in the community that Wade appoints. And so they are unbiased, and they know their area. And so they are the board that we go before, and the taxpayer, you as a taxpayer, go before them, and then they have the final decision at that appeal process.
Yeah, exactly. So there is an appeal process set by the County Board of Equalization, and anybody who disagrees with the assessor's office, the final value, they can go through that appeal process and see what the decision is there. So to make sure that it's done as fairly as possible, and everybody has the due process to come to the most fair value possible across the board. So now we're done with the whole process. We've even gone through the budget for the county. And then what happens in July after our reappraisal is done?
So in July, we start sending out the notices of any changes that were made at the county board level. So they send
it's
out.
set and it's final at that point.
It's set and it's final in July. And then our office will then send out the correction, or that there was a no change, whatever the board decided. We send those notices out. Then the actual tax bills will start coming, or will be mailed out in October.
Well, the county commission has to, with the
they'll
certified
split
tax
that.
rate.
Oh, in July.
So the State Board of Equalization then recommends a certified tax rate.
Certified tax rate, yes.
So the certified tax rate is what the state recommends to the county, that brings the county to a revenue neutral position.
Correct.
And the county commission is responsible for adopting that certified tax rate.
Absolutely, yes.
Now, the county commission can, in theory, adopt a different rate, but they have to adopt a certified tax rate first, and then they can adjust the tax rate to do whatever they want to for their own revenue. Yeah, theoretically, that's just how the process.
Let's hope that's not needed.
I mean, I don't anticipate that. We definitely don't anticipate any tax increases in fiscal year
on the tax rate, on the certified tax rate.
We're in good financial shape throughout the county right now.
Yes. So that'll be determined by the State Board of Equalization through a formula based off of our values. They get that certified tax rate, and then that will be the new tax rate that we were talking about, that will equalize, be the revenue neutral year on the average property and the average sale.
That's right. So that's the process. And as you see, it's not necessarily intuitive or simple, but it really is a simple process. It just, as you go through the steps, it seems more complicated, which is exactly why we wanted to get out in front of you and help explain it as much as possible. So Molly, with all this information that people are receiving, what would you tell people who are a little bit, taxpayers who are a little bit nervous going into this process, what's your message to them?
My message is we have done our very best at the Roane County Assessor's Office to price this as fair and equitable as we possibly can. We use common sense, but we also have to look at the black and white that comes on the deeds telling us what that property sold for, that house sold for. So just know that we are doing our job per TCA law. We care about our citizens, and we want to hear from you if you all have a question. There is no dumb question. Just call my office, and we'll be happy to explain this process again.
That's right.
We'll be happy to go over your card with you, talk about all the processes from that point forward. We're here to help you all. We're here to help, answer questions, simplify things. It's the whole process is not simple, but trying to explain it to you all, as far as tax purposes go, the certified tax rate and the average percent of increase in Roane County, they have to meet here.
Yeah.
And we can't bring in any more, revenue this year than we did the year prior. But my heart is in this office, and I just want everyone to know my staff, my team worked very hard to make this as fair and equitable as possible. And after seeing these sales coming in the last 4 years, it's a hard thing to see.
Yeah.
But it's also a good thing to see because we're growing.
We're growing.
We're growing, and we want to grow.
Well, we need to. It's important for you to know too. We've all experienced inflation. County government is not immune to that whatsoever. And there's really only 3 ways that you can address inflation in county government. You can get leaner, and I'm telling you, we operate really lean operations in county government. All of our offices do, and we look at that constantly. So that really only gives you 2 options. You can raise taxes. Nobody wants to do that. I assure you, not one county official wants us to raise taxes, us included. So that leaves growth. So we want to control how we grow. We've got to make sure that we're growing so that we generate more revenue to pay for things that are more expensive every day. And the reappraisal process is so important. Doing this well and doing this fairly is so important for us to be able to do this in a way that helps us all. I get to see this in Molly and her team every day working in the courthouse with her team. I get to see the hard work that they're putting in, the great job that they're doing every day, and I'm thankful to get to share this with you, and you get to see what I see too. But Molly, I can't thank you enough today for sitting and helping explain this. I do encourage everybody out there, if you still have questions, please reach out to Molly and her team. They'll be glad to sit down with you and talk to you as much as is needed to help you feel more comfortable with this process. Molly, anything else you want to add?
No, just give us a call. You'll get your notice in April, and we look forward to hearing from you, explaining to you. You can come in person. You can come in or call in. We'll be happy to help, and we will have several staff on hand to accommodate and answer those questions. But please be patient with us because we only have so many staff and can only answer so many phone calls.
Yeah.
So we will get back to you. Just call us between 8:30 and 4:30. Monday through Friday, anytime during that week, and the process will start. You'll get those notices in April.
Right.
And Wade, thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you very much. I also want to say again, thank you, KL Studios, for making this space available.
Thank you.
Support Kennedy Ladd Foundation. Please be praying for Kennedy this week especially. Our hearts and prayers are with the Ladd family as they're going through some challenges this week, but we're
Lots of
sure,
prayer.
yeah, absolutely, lots of prayer.
Lots of prayer.
So thank you very much. We'll talk again soon.